leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how, if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, how are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we got to make.
That.
Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make, feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I don't want to fix shit. Right? I'm going to fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand? Your argument feeds the feminist narrative. That's dangerous.
That's not what we're making excuses for.
I'm saying I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I work too hard in my life. I'm going to go back
to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see that? And, she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
Hard in my life.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
men supposed to make raise the boys.
Right. We as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you're talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
what you mean, mentoring them? No, I mean he's a great father.
I ain't talking about that's individual. That's good, but that's individualism. What are we doing collectively as men to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now? Nothing.
We're being a
talking shit.
Yeah, I mean you could take
it's not going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more. Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at? Where your city council person at? We abandon black boys and then we blame black men for poor choices in mates that they should not even have to make if we did a better job raising our boys the right way. At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man, the ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role. Yes, they have responsibility. But as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this shit unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man.
I don't see. I think we're on two different accords. Like, I don't think we're saying that. What I'm saying is I'm capable of being that leader, that provider. I've worked hard in my life. You get what I'm saying? I should not have to.
You still go back to individualism.
But I only feel like we tell black men that we have to now deal with masculine women, women with children.
Why is she masculine? Because she's had to raise the kids alone, not one woman,
so
brother.
Tell me,
a whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I could look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No,
that's what I have to look forward to.
But I'm telling you, mistakes made by black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children. And when I say help them raise them children, I don't mean you as the stepdad. I mean you as an active member in the community where we go to every single parent black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking him to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with him every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be all in all in our community for half of a century. And now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
It's one of the most significant social problems in the African American community, and I always believe that was by design. For this reason, too many African American or Black males are growing up without a father and have a higher probability of becoming absent fathers themselves. The absence of the father has a direct consequence on our society and community. Fewer people get married and more choose to live together instead of marriage. The absence of a father in the African American home has also increased due to the war on drugs and the injustice of the legal system, and the increase and higher proportions of African American males in the prison system. Sometimes fathers play an emotional role in the family, and their absence can be detrimental to their child's development. Fathers are an important infrastructure of the family system. They provide uniformity, which keeps families in order and functioning. In 1965, it was reported that 25% of African American children were born to single mothers. This rate has increased to 68% in 1991, 67% in 2011, 66% in 2015. It's also unfortunate that the woman has to be the man of the house or play both mom and dad. And also having fathers in the home restrict government benefits if the father lives in the home. Many African American fathers move out so their family can receive the financial help, in which the fathers can't get jobs because of racism, lack of resources, lack of transportation. All of this is by design. The absence of the father can cause damage to an abandoned son's sense of worth, trust, and social competence throughout his life. Positive father involvement impacts children with less sexual activity, less drunken behavior. They are not as susceptible to peer pressure and more healthy eating attitudes. They also have healthier marriages and relationships with women. And we can go on and on and on, but it's very critical that our positive role models, other than athletes and rappers, which I don't think is a positive role model, I'm sorry, because please stop calling women the B word. That is not acceptable. So this is definitely an issue that we need to address in our communities. We need more mentors. And this is why the Black church is important and why we shouldn't throw it away. Children who have come from fatherless households more likely to exhibit behavior problems in school, lead to expulsion, and then it's going to put them on the road to a criminal lifestyle, having a record and not being able to get the job and the benefits or being able to vote, and the cycle goes on and on. There are two characteristics of African American family. African Americans are more likely to become single parents and reside in extended families. The majority of African American youth are raised in single parent households from 1880 to 1960. Slavery in the United States traumatized and devastated millions of people, and African American children resided without their parents. This is not a new phenomenon. Families were always separated during slavery. African Americans could not legally marry because they were considered property. And why is that law still on the books that we're three-fifths of a human? We couldn't enter into marriage contracts, and slavery made it difficult to establish a stable, secure home life. It was common for owners to separate the male slaves from their wives and children. This was done on purpose to ensure that future generations of Black people would lack the unity and solidarity required for any group of people to achieve lasting prosperity. Female slaves were forced to raise their children alone, fostering a tradition of independence and self-reliance among colored women, which here comes what they say is the masculine Black female. As the singular caregiver of her children, the female slave would intuitively intuitively summon feminine and masculine energy while serving her role as both mother and father in her spouse's absence. So, how can we address these issues? Social welfare policies over the past 50 years have also been discriminatory. And I just feel like we're just continuously going backwards. And I feel like because of the recent events of affirmative action being repealed, I feel like we as an African American community need to boycott certain businesses where we get our nails and where we purchase our hair, where we eat certain restaurants. We need to boycott them because apparently they don't see our worth or significance at all, and neither do they understand that we're all in this together. And after they finish torturing and terrorizing African Americans, they're coming for you next. They're not your friend. They're coming for you next. You're just a pawn on the chessboard.